All right, everyone, welcome back to BBB Sharing. I'm Evie, Director of Ignite, sparked by BBB. I'm here in the Ignite studio with Matt Powers. Matt, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, thanks for having me. My name is Matt Powers. I run Virtue Solar. We are a small solar installation company based out of Charlottesville, and we serve Central Virginia, Richmond, and all the surrounding areas.
Nice. So I've only recently learned a little bit about solar. I do know that my dad, so I'm from Greece, and we have a home there. My dad put solars on the home there. And at first I was like, what even is this? So tell people who aren't as familiar about it, what is solar energy?
Yeah, so solar, it has a lot of meanings. Usually what it means these days is like what your dad did. So people will put solar on homes or businesses. Typically it's, to have an environmental impact, to sort of do the right thing is a lot of things. One of the reasons that our customers typically go solar. The other is it's an investment. So when you put solar in your home, you're reducing your energy bills, you're locking in long-term savings. A lot of times when people buy their home, they're doing it because they want to stop renting. They want to build equity. And, with utility bills, it's the same thing. So if you don't have solar, you have to pay, Dominion or your electric co-op, whatever they charge you. You don't have another option. You can't say, oh, I want to go with someone else. So solar is for businesses and homeowners, a way to sort of buy your own energy, lock that in. So you make an investment and then in the long term, you get free energy. Once it pays for itself, you have your own choice over, where your energy comes from and, who you pay essentially.
Nice. What are some tips or advice that you have for people that are looking into getting solar for their home?
Yeah, great question. Really, I would say do some research and look around. I think right now, especially, there are great incentives. There are great reasons to go solar. It's certainly it's still an expensive product for the most part. And companies are not all the same. Unfortunately, in Virginia and sort of nationwide, there's a bit of sort of reputation management that the industry is going through. There's a lot of companies that would sort of come in and promise the world. And while solar is a very viable, a very good product, there were a lot of people that you would sort of say, hey, this will do 10 times what it'll actually do. And so there's a lot of fallout that's being managed. So I would say do research, find companies that are transparent, have good reputation, that offer good products, because if it's done properly, it's a fantastic investment and it can last an extremely long time, have a great payback. On the flip side, if you, dig and you look into companies that are less reputable, you can find lots of sort of horror stories of people saying, hey, I was promised this and got ripped off. So fortunately, where we're at now, I think there are, a lot of companies like ourselves that sort of pride ourselves on giving good information, building quality systems, and, making sure that the homeowner is well informed. But I'd say that's the best starting place is do your research, really get good information, and then you'll have a proper expectation of, what to look for.
Great. So basically look for accredited businesses, right?
Yeah, that's a great place to start. Absolutely.
So go to bbb.org. Definitely look for accredited businesses. I know your business is accredited. That's awesome. What are some things that warning signs that you think people should look out for?
Well, I think that a lot of companies, there's been a transition recently. So with interest rates up, actually a lot of the companies that were sort of less scrupulous, a lot of them went out of business. The solar's really been under a crunch in the last, say year and a half. So the problem is that you'd have sales-heavy companies that say, hey, you've got to sign this deal right now. And they're pushing a financing package and saying, if you sign in the next 24 hours, then I can give you this deal. They don't want you to look at other quotes. They don't want you to get more information. And you have, salesmen that don't really know what a system will do. So if you're promising someone a system that'll produce power for 25 years, but you aren't, say, certified, you don't have the experience, you don't truly know what it's going to do, there's a lot of room for error. So even though you might have someone that's well-meaning, if they don't have the proper training and experience, they could, estimate something incorrectly. And getting the numbers wrong can mean that instead of saving money, you're losing money.
Yeah.
So that's, I think that's the main thing, is having companies that are truly experts in the technology. They're not just salesmen that are trying to get a commission. And, I think that's the main thing. But the other thing I'll say is for businesses, which, this is sort of your specialty, the Better Business Bureau, there's phenomenal incentives for businesses right now. So while, there's a little bit of image repair for the solar industry, there's actually better incentives for small businesses in Virginia than there ever have been. So yes, definitely do research, see what's available. But if you are a small business owner, there are tons of federal incentives available, which can have incredible paybacks, essentially. I mean, you do need to own your own building. In most, if you're renting, you're kind of out of luck. But if you own a building, there are phenomenal grants from USDA, there's federal tax credits, and, just accelerated depreciation, things like that can really, instead of saying, hey, this is a long-term investment that'll pay for itself in 10 years, for businesses, a lot of times it can be like 3 to 5 years. It'll pay for itself.
Wow.
And then you're not paying, overhead on utilities and things like that.
That's awesome. What about roofing warranties? Is that ever a discussion that you have with potential customers?
Yeah, so it's a good question. Everyone, the biggest fear that we have and our customers often have is, hey, will solar put a leak in our roof? The equipment that we use is warranted for 25 years, which is typically the life of the roof. It doesn't void roofing manufacturer warranties. So that's something that's been really well thought out by the solar industry. They're very expensive products. You can, it's one thing to buy, say a dollar piece off the shelf from Lowe's. It's very different to buy like a $20 flashing that's specifically designed for one attachment.
Yeah.
So this stuff is very well engineered. And servicing is another thing. Our company does a 25-year service warranty for our residential customers. So we truly want, if you come to me and say, hey, I want you to put solar on our house, we want it to work. We don't want to sell it and get out the door. We want to partner with you and make sure that you actually get the energy that you expect. If something does break, certain, equipment can fail, there can be issues. That's where we come in and say, hey, we will come in and fix that problem. You're not going to pay us for the labor to do that.
Oh.
We want you to, get what you paid for, essentially.
That's awesome. What are your goals with your company in the future?
Yeah, I think, it's kind of a cliche because we're in the renewable industries, but we want sustainable growth. We're not looking to explode. I think that, what we've done in the past is we have, tried to build a team that's happy, have a company that is, works well together. We take care of ourselves. We try to, give good benefits, give living wages and salaries. And that's really important to me. So I think that what we try to do is balance that with, what the industry can bear in Virginia. Like, obviously we would like to grow and continue to help our community adopt clean energy, reduce our imprint. But, we need to do that sustainably. We need to make sure we can do it paying everyone what they need to be paid, giving people, the benefits that they deserve. So I think we put that first. And as long as we can have the volume and the jobs to accommodate that, that's what we're looking for. But I think that comes first, certainly before trying to chase profits.
Awesome. What about door knockers? I learned about that recently.
We aren't one of them. I think that's, maybe that's a viable practice for some people, but I think that's often sort of the, often a red flag in my mind. Sometimes will be the second quote of saying, hey, someone knocked on my door and said, this is a great deal. And it's great advertising for us. It's often a red flag if someone comes to us and said, hey, someone, knocked on our door and wanted us to sign today. I would think that would go back to our earlier conversation of saying, slow down, do some research, see what it should cost, see what it should do. Because probably if you have really experienced people in the industry, people that really know how to design, have install experience, they're probably not walking around the block knocking on your door,
You're
frankly.
right. Yeah, I learned about that actually recently. And I looked at Barry, my boss, and I said, "What's door knocking?" And he's like, "Oh, I forgot how young you are." He's like, "Yeah, that's what I used to do." People today, I think we kind of know not to respond to people knocking on the door, but then that goes back to it kind of being a given, but it's really not for some people, especially people that are already in their homes and looking to get solar. So that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, just to speak to it a little more, I mean, door knocking has been a huge part of the solar industry, and that, it has some benefits. It's helped a lot of people go solar. But the sort of red flag is that it's typically because of a financing package. The thing is I knock on your door and I say, "Hey, you can trade your electric bill for basically a loan," and say this loan is going to be a little bit cheaper than than your electric bill. So there's no reason not to sign today because you're going to save $20 next month and then $20 the month after. And sometimes that math does work, but that's kind of that's where you need someone that's truly an expert, because you'll have people that estimate it wrong. And instead of saving $20 a month, $30 a month, which, we have people that do that, you could say spend $20 or $30 more every month. And there's some people that can't afford to do that.
Yeah.
It needs to be well thought out, well planned, and, they are estimates, but they should be as accurate as possible because, these are big numbers in the end.
Even $1 can make a difference for some people.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, thank you for joining me today. Is there any last words you have to say to anybody out there looking to get solar?
No, I think that's it. Yeah, thanks for having me. And yeah, anyone that's looking to get solar, do your research. Obviously, visit virtuesolar.com and go to bbb.org and see what you find.
Thanks for the shout out. All right, everyone. Thank you for listening to BBB Sharing. I'm Evie, Director of Ignite, sparked by BBB. Make sure to like and subscribe on our YouTube channel, BBB Serving Central Virginia, and follow us on Spotify. Thank you.